Hey guys, it's your pal Victor here from Cult Classics and Cult Following, and I just watched Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched, a history of folk horror, and I'm going to talk about it right now. Hey guys, your pal Victor here, and like I said, I just watched Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched, a history of folk horror by film historian and programmer Kier-La Janisse. And this movie is basically like, there's been a lot of these movies like In Search of Darkness where, we've been looking for, movies from the 80s, and it feels kind of like pop-up video on VH1. We're like, now we're going to talk about Reanimator. Now we're going to talk about Nightmare Elm Street 1, 2, 3, 4, Jason Part 6. Ooh, and then there's all these talking heads that are like, that movie was so scary. Oh my God, Freddy's claw. And then there's like Chris Jericho and whatever. I'm not denigrating that aspect. Clearly a lot of people like those sorts of documentaries. This is a different story. I feel like this is a really scholarly look at this very specific niche, a specific niche of filmmaking. That niche being this folk horror thing, the old religion, pagan gods, people who worship things in the non-Christian sort of way that feels scary and aloof to Christian folk. We're talking about stuff like The Wicker Man or Midsummer or Blood on Satan's Claw. And these movies, some of them you may have heard of, something like Victor's just pulling movies out of thin air. If you watch this documentary, it's going to explain these movies and why they're interesting and integral to this sort of genre. And what this movie does, it's really cool, is it doesn't just focus on English films or even just American films that deal with this stuff, like the way Hereditary might, or, like I said, The Wicker Man. It goes into the whole world tradition of this genre, and that's what really opens it up. You find out, stuff like, in Jewish tradition, there's sort of a folk horror thing with the Dybbuk, which is like this hanging spirit that like haunts a person, and it talks about how that influences films like 2015's Demon. Or it talks about, like the tradition of the crying woman and how you find that in Mexico and South America, like in Guatemala, and how that's similar to the same tradition in, the Netherlands or something. And they talk about the 2020 film La Llorona, which kind of inverts the story of the crying woman into something that is a political indictment of that government's massacres. And it talks to film programmers and how their influence in growing up in this sort of tradition behind them influences what they program at their film festival, which a lot of times prominent film festivals will program movies that end up becoming buzzworthy. So it's really interesting how we see scholars, filmmakers, film programmers talking about this specific niche and how big a role it really has in film, and that's really something interesting. And I think if you're going to watch any of these documentaries that seem designed to get you to build a watch list on Letterboxd, then you should definitely check out Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched, a history of folk horror, if you can catch it. And it played at Fantasia 2021, and it debuted at South by Southwest 2021. It should be coming out on home media soon from our fine friends at Severin Films, so check them out. So if you enjoyed this review, feel free to check more out here at Cult Classics, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.